Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'll be showing you how to make this really nice charcoal and oatmeal soap. So first off, as usual, I will start up by measuring out my hard oils. Then I'll go ahead and melt that. Now in hindsight, I'll let you know up front, I actually wish I did the heat transfer method, and you're going to see why. So here I measured out some cocoa butter. Now I'm just measuring in some shea butter. I'll go ahead and measure some some lard. And then I will melt that down and then use the rest of the warm oils to melt down the coconut oil and everything else. So now we're just adding in the lard here. You can see all three butters have different consistencies. Lard is the softest, shea butter is, slightly harder than lard, and cocoa butter, of course, is super hard. So I will melt these down and then I'll come back and just add some coconut oil before I go on to add the liquid oils. And if you're just joining me for the first time, welcome. I really hope you subscribe to my channel. On my channel, I show my soap making as is with all of the errors and all of the things that I do so that we can learn on the go. So now I am just measuring out some water. I was going to take that away and then I remembered, oh, I need to add some citric acid to this. Now, usually I would add my citric acid separately, but in this case, I actually added the citric acid to my water. So essentially that's a citric acid solution there, and that's where I'm going to be adding the lye. Now if you're a beginner soap maker, I don't advise you to do that because it gets really hot, like way hotter than usual. So the citric acid does make the lye water solution way warmer, so it's a bit more dangerous. So I would err on the side of caution and add the citric acid separately. But in this case, I did it. I went super slowly. This is sped up so it looks fast, but trust me, I was adding that lye to the water solution very slowly. And you can see there with just very little, you could already see that it was starting to bubble. It looks cloudy, but that's actually because it was warming up very fast, which with every pour, I could hear the fizzle like psh. So it really is not the best practice to add the citric acid to your water before pouring in the lye. I would advise you to add the citric acid at a completely different stage. You could just mix it with a tiny bit of water to dissolve it, and then you can add it separately in the process. But you can see there how hot my solution got to 220 something degrees Fahrenheit and over 100 degrees Celsius. So I went and put that away in the fridge just so it would cool down as fast as possible, although this was still very warm. I really wish I did the heat transfer method where I just used that warm lye to just melt my hard oils. But for some reason, I didn't even think about it. So here is my hard oils melted, and now I'm just stirring in the rest of what's not yet melted from that cocoa butter. Now once that is melted, I'll go ahead and add some coconut oil and then add all of my liquid oils. And my liquid oils are really just olive oil and castor oil. Now you can see there that my hot oils are pretty warm. It's around 124 degrees Fahrenheit. I really would have loved for this to be around room temperature or maybe 80 degrees Fahrenheit, but mine remained really warm. So I actually soaped pretty warm. And now because I soaped warm, I did a lot of things to try to ensure that my soap batter would not trace too fast or would not get really thick super fast. And because of that, there were some errors that came with this. But I'll just let you watch this and then we'll speak about that as we go on. So next, I'm just adding some oat flour or oat powder. It's really pulverized oat powder. so it's very, very thin. So I usually have to blend it in so it can mix well, because if I just stir it in, it's going to have lots of chunks of oat flour. So it's just best to, or oat powder, I don't know, oat flour, oat powder, same thing. It's oat, because it's oat and charcoal. So I blended that in, and the next thing I'm going to do is add the lye to the oils. But I'm checking the temperature here, and you can see it's 100 degrees, and you can see there my lye water is still 169. So it's pretty hot. So I decided to use precautions just so that it wouldn't get really thick really fast. And if you look there, I only did this twice, one pulse and the second pulse, and that was it. And then I stirred a bit. I think I may have done 4 pulses actually later, just 2 more, doop doop, but that was it. Very, very short pulses and nothing more. And that's just how I got this to a trace. Now, because I was being super careful, I think I was too careful, because really I should have had my trace a bit thicker, but I was too careful. And so the design I actually wanted to do didn't quite turn out the way I wanted it. And it's so interesting because it's such a simple design. I feel like just because I haven't been making soaps as often as before, there's certain, it's actually that there's a thing. It's like when you don't do it often, you actually will lose some skills. So even here, normally I would add that charcoal to some oil and just dissolve it first, but this time I just poured it straight in. So I was just doing everything the lazy way again, and so I had to blend that in so the charcoal would blend in. A bit of splatter there on my mat, but that's okay. And then I wanted to do the 1 pot swirl, where you mix everything in 1 pot and then you pour it out. I just ended up getting myself a nice marble soap, and that is okay. At the end of the day, this is for personal use, and so I honestly didn't mind. I still had what I wanted in my soaps, and that is charcoal and oat. So now I'm just pouring this in my mold, pouring the charcoal and oatmeal soap in my mold, or oats, not oatmeal, oat soap. And then the rest of it I've poured into some single, I don't even remember what they're called anymore. I guess that's something we can just comment down below and just somebody remind me. But the single column mold, yes, column mold, I think. So now this is 48 hours later. I left them because I really wanted to make sure that when unmolding, none of them actually got a dent or anything like that. So I left them for 48 hours, sorry. And you can see there is so much soda ash. But again, because I'm not selling these soaps, I'm not really concerned with the aesthetics. So a few things you're going to notice. 1, there's no fragrance oil. I've kind of lost interest in fragrance oils. Maybe because I don't sell them, so it's for personal consumption. And I don't really care about fragrance in soap. I care about fragrance like body mists and things like that, but I don't really care about having a fragrance in my soap. I actually like my soaps to be as mild as possible. I'm not saying fragrance soaps are not mild. They actually are all mild, but I kind of just like the plain natural soaps. So here I am just on molding. You can see there that everything ended up with some type of marble design. And whenever I make cubed soaps, because that was my intention, to get cubes out of this, it's always hard to cut them. So I had to whip out this tool and cut it by hand. So it wasn't very even, but that's okay. Of course, I didn't bevel as well because, again, personal use and beveling sometimes can just be wasteful. So again, that's okay. When you use the soap, you probably will just need to use it once or twice and it's going to be smooth. There's really no point beveling unless you're selling and you really, really care about aesthetics. When I do sell my soaps, I do care about aesthetics. So yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed this. This is how the soaps turned out. If you did, let me know in the comment section, and thank you so much for watching today. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.